Mindset Reset, opening range Monday. Good day, traders. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Today was the opening range of the new week, and we had a 3-session opportunity on oil that was a huge, fantastic reversal day on Monday, day one. And we had opportunities on other instruments that, depending on traders' skill set and their knowledge of the instrument, gold gave a beautiful 50 pip reversal from inside closing price, which if you go and measure that back, closing price measured out 100 pips where that trade ended up ending in the US Open. So 1 hour pump back up into the peak formation high made in the London session, coiled sideways, second hour straight down for 50 pips. Congratulations to the traders who hit gold. I know Niche was up in the London session to short it at closing price. We had a couple of session scalps, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. We had London session trade opportunities on Euro cross pairs. And as I made note, don't counter trend a day one runner. And so understanding that Monday's opening range, there were questions about yen cross pairs, the Euro yen, same situation, a day one runner. And what is important to understand on a day one, the opening range, is that markets are now establishing and expanding the range. So oftentimes we'll get a narrow range. Great question I received yesterday regarding what type of trade should we be looking for on opening range day one, Monday. So as I said, we have different opportunities, different instruments. And depending on the session that you're trading, what you don't want to do is counter trend a day one market that is still in a range expansion. The pound yen is a great example of where it's pumped up through Friday's high. It's a market that's making higher highs and higher lows. And on a day one, we can get markets that are expanding the range and they'll just sit there after they've broken out of a market. Traders are looking for that counter trend setup, but we're on day one on the front side and we're just now still expanding the range. It doesn't have to reverse. We're on day one in a new week and a new template. So it's important to understand that a market on day one may not be setting up for a reversal. Whereas if you contrast that with oil, Thursday was the peak formation high of the week. Friday auctioned down into the low of the week. We had a 3-session setup. The Asian session dropped down, broke out. London made a lower low before coiling and making a higher high heading into our US window. Higher high into closing price for a dump and pump at the 9 a.m. starting time for the oil market on NYMEX, the old NYMEX, and so different template. Important to understand what a range expansion means. The market is starting the auction process on Monday, day one, and it's now establishing and expanding the range, getting traders into the market or setting up a market so that traders will want to start trading it, whether they're holding on, whether they're getting in, whether they're counter trending, whether there is a 3-session setup there. Oil was fantastic. The indexes were on top of closing price. I haven't come back and looked since going to the gym, but again, for skilled traders, there was a fantastic reversal parabolic long trade right off the open on the DJ30 back into shorts from the dump from Friday. Broke underneath and came back on top of closing price, coiled sideways first hour, pumped higher, dumped for an explosive stop hunt, long trade into shorts for 100 pips. The NASDAQ was a pump and dump 15 minutes after the open for 35 pip collapse and then worked its way into the low before pumping back up, still on top of closing price. So as I put on that notation from Paul Tudor Jones, always think of your entry position as last night's close, meaning that if you are identifying with a setup, if we're on top of closing price and it's a dump and pump template, well, I want to be in line with closing price, meaning that if the market's going up, I want to be a buyer on top or better than closing price. If the market's going down, I want to be a seller at or better than closing price for a move that's continuing to move lower. So there are opportunities, but important on day one, the market is establishing the range. It's the opening range of the week. So if you have a market that's broken a previous day's high, that doesn't mean it needs to be counter trended, especially if it's a third session. Like, we may see a reversal in the Asian window tomorrow on the pound yen, or it may continue to push higher. We could see a reversal and a continuation in London, a parabolic continuation on day 2, expanding the range, a day 2 trend trade. 3-session setup, US, Asia, London. We could see a reversal trade in the Asian window that could break down and pump up and continue lower in London. Again, a three-session setup. No idea. We have major red news in the US session tomorrow. But Monday's opening range, there are specific types of trades, markets that break out and pull back and continue. So we had similar on Euro pairs. We saw that on Euro Oz, broke out, coiled sideways for a continuation in a range expansion. So not counter trending, a market that's in a range expansion on day 1. And we had markets that just coiled in narrow range inside days. On Monday, narrow range day. Heading into day 2, which is where we may now see a range expansion in those markets, whether it's on major red news tomorrow or in one of the 3 sessions. We could see a range expansion in Asia, a pullback, and a continuation in London, that sort of scenario. Remember what Paul Tudor Jones said. A market that gives you an indication of a range expansion can be intending to continue in that direction. So don't try to counter trend it. Understand the type of setup that it is. But Monday's day 1, and I'm going to do a technical video later today. Mindset reset. Stick with the best trade setups on a day 1 opening range. Monday's day 1 in a new template, new timing cycle. We're in the last week of the month, and we're heading, I think Thursday, Friday is day 1, day 2, heading into March. We're going to get some fantastic opportunities, traders. Stick with the best trade setups. Keep it simple. 3-session setups. Keep getting better. We had a huge week last week, had a huge weekend, a very busy weekend. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend, great start to the week. Best trade setups only, 90-10. Have a great day, traders, and may the markets go with you.